IVM.
Willpower. Willpower is like muscles. The more you work it, that much you can strengthen it. But staying motivated and having great willpower is not enough. Because there will be times when you will not be motivated, you will not feel like working out. There will be days when you will want to laze around in bed and not even go to work. But that is when you mindlessly wake up, dress up, and show up. Think of it how it's gonna make you feel at the end of it. A calming sense of satisfaction. Also, in some cases, associating a detrimental habit with something unpleasant can really do the trick. For example, for me, if I have midnight sugar cravings, I associate it with waking up groggy the next morning. And that is a scientific fact. So, automatically, I'm gonna avoid eating sugar at that time of the night. So guys, there will be hard days, there will be lazy days, and there will be days of feeling fat. There will also be really good days of feeling fit and fast. But what is gonna stay consistent is your mindset. And that is discipline. Hi guys, you are tuned into Kinetic Living with me, Urmi, and I'm here to talk about how kick-ass my kinetic life is and maybe how you can find your own sweet version of it. So, talking about my kinetic life, I recently went to New York for a nice traincation. Basically, traincation is a combination of training and a vacation, which is like the ultimate life for me. And I'm sure all of you fitness enthusiasts will also agree with me. So basically, when I was coming back, I was thinking about what is it that prevents us from traveling solo sometimes, or sometimes when we travel and we see new people or we meet new people or we are in new different situations and we get scared sometimes, right? And many of us don't travel solo for exactly the same reason. So I was just thinking, and it dawned on me that sometimes we just end up judging situations, people, things, and experiences very fast because it's new to us. We are alien to it, so we don't understand it. And the moment we don't understand something, like there's a short circuit in our brain, and we are like, what do I do? And that's when the first thing that comes to us is we start judging it good, bad, scary, difficult. So I realized that, in fact, if we step back and we see the entire situation or some experience in a very objective light, we actually realize that we can actually go in with a completely neutral mind, with a blank canvas, and then just go with it. That's what they mean by go with the flow. They don't mean like just be a drifter, but they actually mean that just stop talking to yourself for a second and then just listen to what the opposite person is telling you, right? Or what the opposite situation has to offer, or what is it that you can do better maybe. And in fact, that will help you to maximize your time. So to conclude this, I would like to say that whenever you're faced with, let's say a friend tells you, come and work out with me or come and play a basketball game with me, instead of seizing up and say, oh my God, like I'm not going to do this. Or if someone tells you, come, let's go for a group class, or someone tells you, come, let's go learn drumming, for example, you just want to just go and experience it with a completely open mind and then take a call after a couple of turns or after a couple of sessions and then say, what did it do to me? So there's a little element of self-awareness. And I think that is where you can really break through your different habits or create new ones for that matter. So I'm going to leave you with this little bit, 2 bits of gyan of mine. And I have a lot of exciting stuff coming up for you. So let me tell you what I'm going to have on this show for you guys. We're going to have some really fun, interesting people who have some really funny, maybe serious, maybe confusing stories of their life, their fitness hacks, and their experiences as well. And I'll also be sharing some of my healthy recipes, some dessert hacks, which I love, by the way. So you're going to keep hearing about all about my experimentation with food. and also some hacks wherein you can beat your afternoon slumps or beat some stretches that you should be doing at your desk or even while driving for that matter. And if I'm in a good mood, then I'll also drop in a few exercises to help you burn your fat. So let's get started. We have someone who is an improv artist, who is a stand-up comedian, a writer, basically a very creative person, and someone whose lifestyle is quite hectic and is quite erratic, if I may say so.
You may say so.
Yeah, and also someone who loves his food, and he is Navin. Hi,
Yes.
Navin.
Hi, Urmi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Don't worry, we are not gonna hound you with any hardcore fitness questions. But from what I've known and what I've spoken with you is that you've don't have a set routine as such, right?
Yeah.
Whether it is physical exercise or even your nutritious food. And can you tell me a little bit about what do you like, if at all it would be a physical activity, and what is your current schedule like?
So, I wake up little late than I supposed to. I always if I'm supposed to wake up at 8:30, I'll be really sore at 8:30. Wake up at 9. That's how I wake up because I spent the night before that traveling to a comedy show and then going back home.
Got it.
Okay, so I live in the suburbs of Bombay, and for me, the first biggest exercise was the local trains. That's how it all began.
Okay.
So I was a fat kid all through school, and when I got out of my 10th standard, because I was spending the entire year studying dedicatedly, I gained close to 15 kgs by the end of that year. Just by sitting and studying, okay? So I was 89 when I passed from school at the age of 15 or 16, okay? So then I went to Mangalore, which my native place is. And I spent a lot of time running around, in the wilderness and gathering mangoes and going in the pool and jumping in there.
Nice.
We don't have a pool; it's a well. It's a proper well you have to jump in. Okay,
Got
it's 30 feet deep. But I had learned swimming very young, so I was happy to swim anywhere.
Nice.
So that's one thing that stayed with me through the years.
So are you an outdoor person?
I am. So I was always one of those trekky, hiking person. No matter how much I sweat or I got tired, by the end of it, the joy of reaching a pool or a waterfall at the end of it, a pond at the end of it, or going to a nature trail was always exciting to me.
So I actually want to take this opportunity to talk about how we are so conditioned to think about fitness only in the context of a gym.
Exactly.
Or talking about yoga or Zumba. It always has to be in closed doors. But actually we are forgetting that first contact with physical movement or even just is being active is via nature or just as children going and playing outside. I'm sure you remember Lagori days.
Oh, I was a champion at Lagori.
And I used to love Lagori myself and playing Kho-Kho or playing hide and seek and Sakli and all of that is so awesome, right? And those are actually sports that get our heart rate really high.
Yeah.
So guys, if you are someone like Naveen who just doesn't like being
confined in a gym.
Exactly, confined in a gym, or even is just very aversive to the thought of going in a structured physical activity, you can go and explore first. And I think that is where you will eventually find what you really like. So Naveen, tell me, do you like, since you said about talking about do you like swimming and cycling and those kind of things?
Yeah, I basically prefer doing that more than, as I said, lifting and doing weights and stuff like that. I find cycling more peaceful because I'm in my own rhythm, I'm doing my own thing. I can ride fast when I want to, I can ride slow when I want to, I can go to scenic routes, I can jump through traffic and all of that stuff. So I used to own 2 cycles back in the day, but then one of them got stolen, one of them I had to sell because I was not using it. It was just standing there, and it became a part of my engineering project though. I used it to charge phones.
So but tell me, did any of so does soreness bother you? Do you get sore after cycling a long route or even swimming or even going for a trek for that matter? Did soreness ever bother you?
Not really. You do get sore, but I think that's one way of understanding that it's actually working on your body. If you're going to be nothing's happening to me, I'm vanilla all throughout this trek, that's not going to happen. You have to really go through some hurdles and climb and stuff like that. I remember in 2013, which was the last time I remember I climbed a mountain, was the peak, the Kalsubai peak. We had gone
Okay,
for like a
nice.
trek through the Sayadris and everything.
Huh.
And just 2 months before that, I had a very dangerous accident on my kneecap. My kneecap
Okay.
was basically torn because of a escalator injury.
Okay.
So despite that, I stayed at home for a month. I recuperated and I still managed to finish almost the mountain. I could not climb the last 100 steps because my body had given up at that point. Like I was just like, my body was drenched and it was just paining too much. So, so at that point I gave up. I rested for 15 minutes and then the whole Pulton came back and I climbed down very easily. But from then on, I was like, maybe I should not exert my knee so much because it was genuinely hurt.
So I also want to take this and say that it's not soreness and the pain are two different things. So once we start exercising or even doing any kind of physical activity regularly, we'll actually realize how soreness is actually, it's called DOMS in scientific terms, delayed onset muscle soreness, which is basically the muscles have broken down and then they're going to rebuild. So that is where the soreness comes from. And to all of your listeners as well, soreness is not a sign of good workout. So next day, if you're not sore, doesn't mean you've not had a good workout. It's totally natural. And having said that, a lot of people who are new to physical fitness will think that I'm sore, so I should not work out the next day.
Yeah.
So I want to tell you guys that actually it is more necessary that you do move the next day. Otherwise, you're going to get even more sore and then you're going to be even more sore the next day. And if you stop the exercise again, then again when you restart, you're going to get sore.
Yeah.
So it's just your body's way of rebuilding. And so about your kneecap, I think that is more strength related and injury related. So as we learn to understand the differences between the two, so make sure you are going to taking proper guidance, or now since I'm sure you will be working towards strengthening your injured leg.
Yeah, it's been a while though. Like I went to a physio and they guided me into that. So they said just walk more. Just like if you let your leg kind of work itself out in the right way, then you'll probably find the right rhythm to walk.
And
again.
you should also strengthen your core, because your core is, so all of y'all who think core is just your abs, if someone is trying to sell a core workout to you and just giving you ab exercises, that's wrong, because Navin, you need to also strengthen your hips, your spine, so that there's less pressure on your knee.
Correct.
Yeah. So you also told me earlier that you love dancing, right?
I do.
So, and your leisure days in school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if you are also having a strong core, then it will help you in your dance as well.
Yeah.
But again, I want to say the same thing is find different ways where you can really don't have to be restricted to 4 corners of a room and explore. Just put on some music, guys, and you can just do it in your own room for that matter.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the best thing.
Awesome. So Naveen, we were talking about your hectic schedule and stuff.
Yeah.
So how many meals are you having currently?
It's mainly 3. The 3 main meals, which is breakfast, lunch and dinner. And in the middle, if I do feel hungry, I try to bite that, somehow wait for the final meal. Because I was used to that from the school days itself. I was like,
Which is your heaviest meal, but?
Ideally, it should be the breakfast, but for me, it's dinner because I'm just dead by the end of the night. I didn't even eat breakfast a year ago. So it was only last year that I actually tried to get something in my lifestyle that was, a different approach to eating food. So I was like, lunch will be home food by default because I was not carrying lunch before that. I was eating whatever garbage I could order, including samosas and stuff like that.
Okay.
So Kavita knows that I would wake up, come to office and order samosas there for breakfast, which is just unhealthy as...
So, just wanted to say that for all of y'all who are ordering breakfast from outside, even if it's from a simple Udupi, so go for something like a idli.
Yeah.
Idli and coffee is a good option in it from an Udupi. And if you're going for, let's say, a lunch from an Udupi restaurant, you can go for the dry vegetables over there. And then you can order actually dosa, which is a lot more healthy than ordering puri or ordering stuff like makhani and dal makhani, which is all very heavy, and even rice for that matter. So rice has also been stigmatized, unfortunately, but if rice had in the normal quantity, especially brown rice, is totally fine. Right? And I want, like you said, your dinner happens to be your heaviest meal, right?
And that to 1 a.m. in the morning. It's a very stupid time to be eating dinner in the first place. So I would tell my mom just keep 2 rotis outside with vegetable or whatever.
But you told me you're Christian, right?
Yeah.
So why can't you eat meat at night?
I can.
So then maybe next time you can try just having your meats and veggies.
Yeah, but it's like really plain, right? It's kind of like devoid of anything to mix it with or sort of. That's the way we eat food, right? We just like put everything together, make a massive concoction, and then stuff it in our mouths. And so I will tell you one thing, because I stopped eating rice for like a month, experimented with that, and
Yeah.
I would wake up in the morning feeling much lighter. My bowels were much better moving, so to
That's
say.
good. Good
And
bowel movement,
Good
you
bowel
mean.
movement is important, yeah. So I'd feel the difference, but still, when I was eating in the night, my mom would like totally disregard my plea to like keep only roti outside. She would keep rice outside to see how much she can tempt me, because she knows I'll give in eventually. Like she'll make something like dahi kadhi or like the godi dal, which is like all these staple Indian food that I really enjoy. So she knows I will not stop between like one serving se leke 3 servings to hona hi hai. So she knows I'll do that on.
But what if you just had something in the evenings? Then would that... So generally what you do is you have a heavy meal between 6 and 7. So in the night you tend to feel less hungry, right?
Yeah.
And you were also talking to me about how you gave up sugar last year. And so tell me a little bit about that.
So I had a health scare with regards to my skin allergies acting way crazy than they were. I have very sensitive skin in India, and generally, like, people are used to like deos and stuff like that. I would react very badly, but over the last year it became even worse. So I went to a good skin specialist, and he said the main thing that's hurting you right now is sugar, because you don't realize the body accumulates sugar and makes all these pockets in your body where then it kind of finds a release. So your skin is breaking out because of that. So I was like, shit, that's really scary.
So also, did you know that sugar addiction is actually one of the worst addictions right now?
I didn't know until I stopped eating sugar. Like once I stopped eating it, I'm like, oh my God, I was eating and drinking sugar in everything. From your morning coffee to like a biscuit that you eat, like an Oreo. Then you have like processed sugar in some form or the other.
Yeah.
So there's always some way of the consumption.
Also, I want to share this really interesting and very important fact, because a lot of people think that it's a myth that only sweet is sugar, right? Every food is broken down into the body as sugar.
Yeah.
So it's just about if you're eating simple food, like let's say maida, bread, okay, you're eating samosa for that matter, all of that is refined flour. So what is happening is it's immediately getting digested in the body or broken down rather, and that is what escalates the sugar level in the blood. And that is why whether it's sugar per se, like the sweet dessert or an Oreo biscuit or a sweet chai or vada pav, samosa, pizza, all of that actually is interpreted the same in the body, which is spiking your blood sugar, right? So I would say that we all, including me and you, doesn't matter what our lifestyle is, we should actually focus on energy through nourishment rather than energy through stimulation. So what you were saying, right, about having your chai or your Oreo, so every 2 hours you would need that hit, right? That is the addiction that we all get into, or in general people now don't even realize that they are suffering from that. And plus the whole epidemic of depression and anxiety, anyway people are looking for a constant fix. So it literally like is a downward spiral, and before you know, you end up seeking sugar because of it makes you happy, and you're dealing, and then it's like a constant loop that you need more of it. And that's damn good. Like, you were off sugar for how many months?
A good 6-7 months,
Wow.
And then Christmas happened.
So tell me, what did you notice in these 6-7 months?
So definitely the mood swings became less erratic. I was much focused on what I wanted to do in life in general. Like a lot of changes happened because of that one habit. I was thinking that there are other lifestyles. Maybe I'm always tired or this,
So what were you eating during that time if you were not? If you quit sugar?
First thing I did was like stop caffeine altogether, because caffeine, I was one of those people who wants milk and like 5 cups of sugar in my sugar, in my coffee. Sorry. So I stopped that entirely.
5 spoons, you
5
mean?
spoons, yeah. I was exaggerating. So I would just like have green tea. I shift to green tea. Then I was like basically consuming only roti and normal chapati and stuff like that with bhaji. No other additives, like no biscuits, no outside cold drinks.
Processed, no
I was
processed
I would drink like something like sugarcane juice instead of going for like a Minute Maid pulpy orange.
Nice.
That was one thing, because I was like, okay, this is at least what jaggery is made out of. So it's actually sugar that is natural, not something that's processed into a bottle.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So in fact, I wanted to just tell you maybe more suggestions maybe which you can incorporate now. Is you talked about green tea, you talked about sugarcane juice, then coconut water, then nimbu pani, like simple nimbu pani, which is made in the office for that matter. You can have that. Then you have kombucha nowadays, which is a great fermented drink. It's very rich in probiotics, so it is going to really improve your gut bacteria.
Okay.
So you can try all of these things as well.
Nice.
And tell me, what else would you have? Like it would be home food basically.
Yeah, mainly
right?
I was reduced to that because I would carry like nuts along with me, like dry fruits, and my mom would make sure that I was not like all the chocolates in the fridge were gone.
Awesome.
Because my mom is also diabetic, so like that gave her the reason to like not blame it on me that I got the chocolates and I kept it in the fridge. Now no chocolates in the fridge at all.
And you see how like when I've seen that in the conversation you've spoken about mom so many times, is that how habits of people around us and the people who live with actually even translate onto us. And I think that is where just being aware of that will make you a lot more aware of what you're putting in your mouth as well. So I want to reach out to all you people, including Navin, saying that just be aware of what you're putting in your mouth. Automatically within you will see, it will be a slow change, but you will see a difference in the quantities you consume, the quality of ingredients you consume, and that is where the long-term benefits of choosing a healthy way of eating is going to come from. So thanks, Navin. Your story is really awesome, and I hope you actually get back to at least not having sugar
I'm
so
slowly
long.
getting there. Like, it's still difficult. Like, if you put a cheesecake in front of me, I can't. Cheesecake is my kryptonite.
For now, just try to not eat too late in the night. And I think that should be a good start. So, and this again I follow for myself as well, is that sometimes when you get overwhelmed with a busy life and not having proper meals, it is best to keep it simple. And simple is natural, unprocessed food, and just don't eat artificial sugar.
So that's my question, right? Before I wind up, is that like if I'm doing a comedy show now in the evening, which is usually like, it starts at 8:30 or 9, goes on till 11:30, and then I'll leave for home and then I eat, right? So in the interim, where do I figure out how to have the proper meal at the right time?
So I would say just before your show, let's say, because it starts at 8:30, you said, right? So I would say by 6:30 or even 7:30, depending on your jitters, and sometimes we are nervous, you can have a good meal that time. So have a good chicken sandwich or something which is like an omelette with toast. So that's going to keep you fuller. And then when you go home, you can have boiled eggs, you can have hummus with veggies, you can have some snacky food, even epigamia yogurt, or even any Greek yogurt for that matter, because Greek yogurt is richer in protein than the regular yogurt. So have stuff like that, but don't have too many carbs. The best fix for a nighttime snack is protein and fat. So you can even have yogurt with some nuts. You can have eggs again. You can have meat since you're a non-vegetarian. You can have avocado with like chicken. Totally cool with all of that. And that's going to keep you satiated, the fat. And the protein is going to actually just, in fact, increase your metabolism even as you're sleeping.
Correct.
So you can try that.
Awesome. I'll do that.
Yeah. Thanks, Navin.
Thank you, Urmi, for giving me so much insight into what I should be doing with my terrible body.
Yay. And I hope you actually, no, don't talk about having a terrible body. I'm sure you are a great dancer.
I am.
And just keep doing that.
I'll see you on a dance floor.
Done and done. Thank you.
Awesome.
And that was my conversation with Navin, and I hope he made you laugh, and I hope I encouraged him as well as you guys to kick that old habit and get started. We will be right back after this short break.
You know what it's been? Like every week has been an awesome week on IVM. This week on IVM, we got the 300th episode of Cyrus Says. To mark this milestone, Cyrus has an MTV VJ reunion with Malaika and Nikhil Chinappa. Listen in for tons of laughter and nostalgia. You really, really don't want to miss this. 300 episodes! On the Scene and the Unseen, Amit Verma is joined by a farmer leader, Gunwant Patil, to discuss India's agricultural crisis and the state of farmers. On Know Your Kanun, lawyer and host Amber Rana helps us to understand the complexities related to the laws and rights regarding cruelty. Last week on the Pragati podcast, Pawan and guest host Shambhavi Nayak were joined by renowned scientist Dr. Kumarasamy Thangaraj to discuss the great genetic diversity of India. On the Kinetic Living podcast this week, Coach Urmi talks to stand-up comic and the host of Keeping It Queer, Navin Noronha, about his busy schedule and the struggle to create a fitness regime for himself. And as always, if you're not following us on social media, please make sure that you do. We are IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We do a lot of really interesting stuff over there. Also, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. We have this thing called IVM CCTV over there where we give you guys a glimpse into the studio. And with that, let's continue with your show.
Welcome back, and it's time for the recommendation section, but this week it's more about also giving you some hacks. So this Ganpati season, when you go pandala hopping, I'm going to tell you how you can minimize your cheat meals. So generally what happens is you end up going hungry and you go from one pandala to the other and you end up hogging on all the sweets and the sugary drinks. So what I want you to do is carry dry fruits with you like almonds, walnuts, and carry some fruits with you. Or even I'm sure there will be fruits kept on offering in the pandalas. So grab those because that is going to give you a consistent energy throughout and it will prevent any crashes at the end of the day. Next one is an exercise recommendation. Since we spoke about getting started, even if you're at a beginner level or restarting your old fitness habit, I want you to know that these 3 exercises have to be taught absolutely correctly by your coach or your trainer, whoever is it that is helping you achieve your fitness goals. And these 3 exercises are the deadlift, the push-up, and skipping. And the reason I'm saying skipping is because skipping is also a skill-based exercise, guys, but it is an excellent form of a portable workout and even helps in building stamina and fat loss. And the last recommendation is a social media activity that will help you get started towards a more active and a healthier lifestyle. Starting from the 16th of September, I have started a challenge called the Fitwit Challenge in association with Vitamins 3. And all you have to do is upload your attempt of doing the task on your Insta stories, tag coach.urmi, Kinetic Living, and Vitamins 3, and you could stand a chance of winning some exciting Kinetic Living goodies. And I know some of you already have said yes to winning the Kinetic Living goodie bag. So here's your chance. Get on with it. You can listen to this and many other awesome shows on the IVM Podcast app or the website. You can follow us on social media at IVM Podcasts. If you want to get to know me better, then follow coach.urmi on Instagram, and you can write to me at urmi@kineticliving.in. Until next time, stay tuned, stay kinetic.
Long, long ago, not in Bethlehem, but in a place nearby, there was a wonderful birth of a huge show, which I like to call Cyrus Says. A show that encapsulates everything in human history, from the first Homo sapien to the last Homo sapien, who's traversed the entire world and then come back to India. This is a show which tells you everything about everything. If you want to know, avoid Google, come to us. It's called Cyrus Says. Get new episodes every Monday and Thursday on the IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts from. It's simple as A, B, oh God, what comes after that?
Every week comes a show where 3 people come together to tell you about stuff they like. A movie, a TV show, a book, and other stuff. Tune in every Monday on the IVM Podcast app to IVM Likes. Batman approves this message. Thank you, Batman.